What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am is Candice Harper, lovecoach.com, and my purpose with this podcast is to create healthy romantic relationships all around the world through self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. But before we get to that, we're here with our production partner, Solivity Magazine, my Brian. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Candy, and happy holidays.
Well, thank you very much. Did you notice that I'm wearing my holiday red?
Yes, I did. It looks fabulous. It looks fabulous.
Thank you ever so much. I was going to try to do something with like Christmas balls and all of that stuff, but you know,
I don't really see you wearing like the whole like that kind of outfit, but
what?
I could be wrong.
What,
like the ugly sweater thing.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to do that. But what I was thinking is I could hang some garland.
Mm-hmm.
And, whatever. I'm so into that sort of thing. And
well, I could see you doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see you doing the whole like the Christmas decorations thing and holiday thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I used to be big on that. Well, you know, I used to work in TV, so I did it for Wendy Williams. I did it for Tyra Banks, you know, big Christmas sets and things like that. And I think I'd like blew my load. I mean, I care, but do I really want to go to the trouble? I
Or
don't know. Sometimes not so much.
it's like, do I really want to do that this year? If I could just leave it up for the rest of the year, then great.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. And also too, I feel like I'm much more connected to the reason for the season.
Right, right, right.
The spirituality part of it. Not the decorations are wonderful. Let me
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, so tonight I do feel festive, and we're definitely going to be diving into some conversation about the holidays, and obviously I'm going to connect it to our self-love, soul connections, and our sweetness. And this is going to be our last show this season, right, Brian?
Yes, yes. I will say that it has been a glorious season, and we will be returning once again
Yes,
in the
yes,
new
we're
year
coming
with
back.
yeah, with live. I mean, all the other shows will be broadcast during this time, but we won't come in with new shows until next year.
Yes. We're coming back live 2021. There will be replays available in all of our normal outlets. And I'm going to continue with the audio. So there will still be new audio shows. So watch the replays, because then that's stuff that, it's always good to listen to it again. And then also, if you're subscribe to the audio, then you'll be getting new content as well. Because, I keep going. I'm the Energizer Bunny when it
Yes, you are, Candy. Yes,
right?
you are.
My mind doesn't stop working, Brian. I can't, I
I
get that.
know. I know. You can't, y'all. She can't stop. She can't.
My,
She got to keep creating. Which is a
exactly.
good thing. Which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
No, it's totally a good thing. So my mind doesn't stop working long enough to, take a full hiatus, but subscribe, because also during the hiatus, I'm doing like a little experimental thing. I'm going to have, don't be jealous, Brian, because you're my married man, Deus Ex Machina, but I am going to have hiatus co-host for the audio. His name's Frank Love. He is a happily married father of 3 and an author. His book is called, well, he's got a couple books, but the one that I've read is How to Successfully Exit a Relationship. He's got like,
Wow.
yeah, he's a love coach himself. Well, he's a coach, and he deals with sex and relationships. So he's got a lot of prolific things to talk about, and that's going to be interesting conversation. So we'll be doing that a little bit over the hiatus and maybe into the season. We see how it all goes.
Well, nice. I am not jealous in one bit, because the more growth and insight that we can provide, the better.
Better, right?
Yes, the more better it makes, the more better.
Exactly. More contribution is always good. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe so you can kind of check us out, check out our trial run, see how it goes. Also, you can always email us, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Leave your comments, ask questions, even during the hiatus. If you're someone who normally likes to watch and you're watching one of the replays and you have a question or a comment that you want to leave, definitely email me, because I love to hear what you have to say and how you're feeling about it all. So for those of you who have been watching and listening for almost 9 years, I've been a relationship coach and a workshop facilitator, and you can go to mywellbeing.com to work with me one-on-one. I'm also a professional matchmaker with a luxury matchmaking service. We bring high-end singles together to find their perfect love. And this is me just living into my purpose, the purpose of loving myself unconditionally and inspiring others to do the same, using their romantic lives as a portal, an inspiration, a catalyst to their highest possible self. Now, relationship coaching is my zone of genius. Those of you who listen, you know that I say this every week, because I just like for you to know it. I like to drive it home, and I love it, and I'm passionate. The best part about it is that week to week, I get to grow and learn as I interact with hundreds of people around the most intimate parts of their lives. I get to take people on their journey from caterpillar to butterfly, from unhappy to their love lives to ecstatic with their love lives, with or without a partner, right? Sometimes you need to get out of a relationship to be ecstatic.
Wow.
Right? And more, some maybe more times, more often than not. But I get to teach people how to get out of their own way and tap into love as a limitless resource. And I do that using tools like EFT, RTT, which is a hypnotherapy, and my own coaching curriculum. And most importantly of all, what I get to do is be part of what supports healthy beginnings and sustainably healthy relationships. And I get to be the cause of self-love, soul connections, and sweetness. And to that end, tonight we have a very holiday-driven show. And it's not about any one particular holiday. There are 14 religious holidays that are celebrated around this time period, right? And here we are once again. The year goes by so fast. It's Christmas time, it's Kwanzaa time, it's Hanukkah time, it's solstice. It's all these different kinds of, celebrations, spiritual and religious. And, for those who are pagan and those who don't necessarily believe in a higher power, it's a celebration of humanity, commercialism, whatever it is that you're looking to. For some of us, it's just a festivus for the rest of us. And no matter what celebrate or what religion or whether you're into gift giving or not, tonight I want to talk about and give some examples of priceless gifts that we can give to ourselves and each other that will fit any holiday, any spirituality, any, if you're someone who doesn't buy gifts and that's not your thing, these gifts that I'm talking about are the kind that you don't have to spend any money, but they will be valuable to you forever.
Yay!
Yay.
Da
And
da
hopefully,
da 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 da. Shake a hand now. Nice, Candy. This is gonna be a great show.
right, it's going to be a good show. So yeah, this really is about the things that we give to ourselves and each other that are valuable, that are priceless, that people never forget, and that you don't have to wait for the holidays either. Stuff that we're going to put into practice. You ready to dive in, B?
Yeah, let's do this.
Get in there. Okay, so yeah, we're in unprecedented times, right? But if we think about it, all times have been unprecedented. But with this particular last year, this has been a very interesting year as far as what we're all experiencing and how variable it is and how uncertain it is and all of that stuff. So a lot of the things that we could give ourselves and each other have to do with what is going to sort of alleviate what different people that we know and what we ourselves might be going through. Because I feel like for a lot of us, it's been kind of an ebb and a flow. It's a roller coaster. It's up and down. We're all over the place. Some people, it's been, constant anxiety. For some people, they've been able to sort of ride a wave. Some people have gotten success and some people have been dealing with death. It's like everything's all over the place, right? Which,
Yeah.
if we think about it, that's life in general. But with this pandemic, it's like been turned up to 1,000.
You ain't never lied.
Right? It's really on high. So the first gift that I think we want to be cognizant of giving to ourselves is to rest up. Now, what do I mean by that? Because I know that a lot of people, especially anyone who's been unemployed or been home and isolated a lot, they feel like all they did all year was just, lay around. But I think there's a big difference between allowing ourselves to rest and actually being sedentary, right? Because you can be sedentary and still be in anxiety mode.
Right.
You can be sedentary and still be on high alert that something's wrong or that something feels wrong, especially for those of us who lay around watching the news.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about the holidays, so many of us aren't gathering on the level that we may be used to. So many of us may be feeling sad about it, or maybe we're making it mean that the holidays won't be good because of what we're used to. Or, for those of us who are used to hustling around all of the time, this is an opportunity, whether you're a hustler or you're not a hustler, this is an opportunity to just give yourself the gift of peaceful, quiet rest, where you are present to letting your nervous system relax. Like being where you are. It was a doozy of a year, yes. But being where you are when you sleep, allowing yourself to just sleep. When you go into like mind process and you feel yourself doing that, getting aware that that's what's going on and doing whatever you need to do to quiet that. I personally like to do things like listen to sound baths, which you can get for free on YouTube. Sometimes meditation music, things like that, whatever soothes you. Some people like to take a bath and put lavender in it. If that's something that's not available to you, some people just do breathing exercises. And there's so much of it that is available. So one gift that you can give yourself, and if you have children and other people in your household, is permission to rest. Right? Everybody has permission to rest and breathe. And I know that sounds so rudimentary, but I feel like so often we forget to do that because it's always, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you get up and get that thing? Did you take care of that? Did you make sure of this? And we're also on high alert.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. There was a study done on the amount of days, total days, that Americans take off every year.
Oh, yeah.
And the total a number of days, including sick time, on average is 12.
That's not very many at all.
12 days out of 365 days.
I feel like I'm guilty of that.
And I think in Europe, the average is between 35 and 40
Now
days
that
per year.
Yeah.
And with only like maybe a 2 or 3% reduction in productivity per year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. I mean,
Rest.
that just goes to show that how much rest and allowing ourselves to rest creates balance, right? So if there's only a 2 to 3% less productivity percentage, I mean, to me, that says rested people can get shit done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And we're always so busy, like focusing on and being attached to the result rather than being willing to go through the process or the journey. And part of doing anything is creating balance. And so it's that permission to just sit down, rest. It's okay.
Sit your down.
Exactly. For those who are doers and those who always want to be creating, I'm one of those people. I'm constantly working on something. It's like almost like a default setting. I realized the other day that sometimes it really is okay to just say, it's okay if you don't do something today.
Right.
And you don't have to wait until you're stressed to say that either. Because unless you are, right in the thick of, I'm thinking about people like essential workers, people who work in the medical field, unless you are in a medical emergency, there's nothing that you're doing that can't give you enough time to just rest before you do it. They can't just give you, that you can't just take some moments to like do a little self-care, self-relaxation, and rest doesn't always have to mean going fully to sleep. It's just allow yourself to practice just guilt-free rest before we gear up for 2021, which we don't know what that's going to bring.
Right. Isn't guilt-free rest the best?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And it's hard won. Like it's yeah, really conscious of giving myself guilt-free rest.
So we can just end on that one, right?
If you can give yourself guilt-free rest, then we don't need to do the rest of the show.
No, I know there's some more coming.
Yeah, but just to drive it home, I think about how much because I can be a procrastinator, and as much as I'm a doer, I can also procrastinate. So sometimes my doing is just like, distracting from something else, right? So in procrastination, you be, watching YouTube, sitting still, doing whatever. And then there's that constant voice in your head that's like, you need to be doing something. You need to be doing something. You're supposed to be doing something. You're supposed to be doing something else. That's not guilt-free rest. That's just, not moving forward while you're guilting yourself. So that's why I point to that. Like, you want to practice it as a guilt-free thing. Allow yourself the peace, allow yourself to rest. That's number one.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a great gift to give ourselves and to give each other. Give your children as well. Number two, give yourself and everyone around you the gift of saying your piece and standing by it. So this is totally veers off in another direction. If you're someone who ends up arguing with people a lot, gift yourself with something a lot more powerful. Know what is true for you. Allow this holiday time to be a time where you're just really honest about what is true for you around things, around life, around your philosophies. You know, we live in polarizing political times. Develop an understanding of what's true for you and why it's true for you. And allow yourself to forgo needing to convince anyone else of it.
Mm.
Like, yeah, give
Wow.
yourself the gift of not having to force anybody to see things the way that you see it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
validate what you see or how you feel. Right. A lot of times during the holidays, when we do spend time or interact with family, we get into conflicts. And even though we're not going to be able to do that as much, except for maybe over Zoom,
Right. Right.
because so much of our time together is limited, we want to make that quality time. So the old days of, everybody gathered around the table and then a family fight breaks out, you're on a Zoom call and a fight breaks out, and that's precious time.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now. I mean, with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, yeah, because we don't know, like mortality wise, not to make anybody anxious, but there's no promises. There was never any promises, but now I think with this pandemic, we're faced with it.
Absolutely.
Promises
Absolutely.
for anybody, right? No one is guaranteed. We're not guaranteed any time together. Time together is much more sparse. It's like gold right now,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it comes to like conflict and things like that, it's a time to not need to change anyone's mind and not need to force anybody one way or another. Just stand in what you think and how you feel and what you believe, and that it be authentic to you and your own healing and things like that, without needing to convince others, force others, argue with others. Give yourself that gift, not because it's a moral issue, not because you're wrong if you get in an argument, but it's just a great gift to offer you and the people that you love the opportunity to have the time that you are together, to be pleasant, to not be stress inducing, because we have enough of that going on in the world, right? To just allow what is not ultimately that important to fall away, because sometimes with family we can disagree about everything from what to stuff in the stockings to whose turn it is to call crazy Aunt Janice. Like, we can disagree about so many things, but we just feel how we feel without having to argue anybody down, or feel invalidated because someone else doesn't see it the way that we see it. I know for me and my family, that is like a prevalent thing. Like, if someone says something and then the other person doesn't agree, like, there's this natural defensiveness that happens, that if you don't agree with me, you're somehow insulting me. Or if you're not saying
Right.
anything, then somehow you're putting down what I'm saying, you're invalidating what I'm saying because you don't agree with it. Like, things like that. We want to, just let those things fall by the wayside. We don't have to agree with each other about everything. And clearly, judging by this whole past year, we don't.
Right.
Right? We don't, and we won't. What do you think about that one, Brian? You have anybody that you feel like you could let go of any disagreements with them, or vice versa?
Hmm. Be like Uncle Ray Ray. No, I'm just kidding. um, I was thinking about that earlier. And I think going through the process of thinking about some old friends or old acquaintances that we might have had disagreements with back in the day, that I
Mhm.
need to just let that go. I mean, sometimes it pops up, but I need to go through an exercise of just kind of writing out my piece and then tearing it up and throwing it away and releasing it,
Yeah,
and just letting it be that we just didn't see eye to eye on things, and that's okay.
yeah.
And that's okay, you
Yeah.
know.
Most definitely. I mean, definitely in that sense of it. Also, I think and I always go back to family because, we're talking about holiday, and, friends is valid too, but family as it pertains to these holidays, like for me, like just recently, my older sister was like texting me that I need to call dad. And, I have a regular communication with our dad, and so for me, it's like I had to stand up for, I'm in touch with my father the amount that I need to be, and I don't need to
Right.
fight
Right.
with you. Do you know what I mean?
Right. 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 That what you do works.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what I do for my relationship with him works, and you have your relationship with him, and you do what you need to do to have it work. And that's okay. Like we don't have to fight about it. And so what would have happened in the past is that it would have been an argument back and forth. But I just what's true for me,
Right.
and didn't, she kind of wanted to go back and come back, but I was like, there's nothing else to say about it. Right. So that, and I felt like I gave myself a gift in not engaging in some sort of back and forth around it. And I think that that's something that we can offer ourselves, and the people around us will align with it. When they get it, that you're not there for a fight,
Right.
they let it go.
Right. 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 They either when they know that it's not there, they leave. Right. They walk away from it.
Yeah.
That's
Because
so
there's
true.
nothing to resist. There's nothing to fight against. Right. And then all of the stress and the impact that comes from having that fight, it's completely avoidable just by saying, this is what's so for me, and then being peaceful about it. Right. You save
Mm-hmm.
you stress. So that's another gift you can give yourself. And you're also giving it to that person, even if they don't like what it is that you're saying, you're giving them the gift of clarity about where you're at and what you are willing to engage with. And it's okay, because I can love you and still not do what you tell me to do.
Right.
And still not do what I'm telling you have to do. Number 3, give yourself and others the gift of cleaning up the loose ends. So, like what you were talking about, Brian, that friend that you can't even remember why you were fighting with in the first place, or that organization that you may have dropped out of and never left an explanation, the unanswered question about an old relationship that could be answered with a phone call, like things like that. This is,
Yeah.
if you're feeling it, give yourself the gift of cleaning that stuff up,
Right.
cutting those loose ends, and doing what you need to do to have peace with all of that. That's a great holiday gift for you and whoever you're dealing with. So like things you haven't pushed forward with a decision on. So you guys know I talk about my German Shepherd that I'm fostering, right? I've been
A
fostering
little
this
bit. You talk about him a little bit.
a little bit, my Tucker. I've been, and as soon as I said his name, he looks up. I've been fostering him for 6 months and probably on the fence about whether I'm going to keep him for 3 months. Right. So now is the time, like, even though I'm much closer and I say, oh yeah, I'm going to keep him. I'm going to keep him. There's still parts of me that's like, okay, but should I, is it going to be a good decision for him? Because he needs a lot of exercise, then maybe more than I can give him, all of that stuff. But what I found is that by me riding on the fence about it, it kind of like leaves so many unanswered questions. And for both of our health and sanity and all of that stuff, the decision needs to be made. The choice needs to be made, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I am publicly making that choice that I'm keeping him right now. And that is me just cleaning up a loose end, because it's been a loose end for about 3 months now. And I know that in the grand scheme of life, that's not like some big major life decision. And some people out there have some big major stuff that they're thinking about. But the invitation is that the sitting on the fence and the riding in between and letting it go on, it is a choice, even though you feel like you haven't made your choice, right? And it's a choice that has an impact that it prevents us from having the full satisfaction of one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So the full satisfaction of knowing he's mine and knowing what choices I need to make, what financial decisions that I need to make. That if he got lost, that his chip says, bring him back to me, things like that as an example, as opposed to if I decide, oh, go ahead and let him be adopted by another family. And then I know that certain things are no longer my responsibility, and that, my life choices can be different based on not having him. Either way, I have a clarity that's going to have me able to be 100% in one direction or another, rather than in this limbo, which affects everything ultimately, because even though he's a dog, not a human being, it still affects, like, where I'm going to live in the future.
Right.
Pound dog. It affects, a lot of life decisions that I would make that would stay in limbo. So the idea here, and the reason I'm using that example, is me giving myself the gift of make the decision and then be able to make 100% choices that mean something and live in it. Live in the decision that you've made. Right? So that's the gift. Make the choices, clean up the loose ends. And it's been on the fence. Go ahead and commit one way or the other. Number 4, only be a yes for what you truly want to be a yes for. Right? That's something to give yourself the gift of, and to give others. And that's a huge gift for others as well. Because a lot of times we're a yes for things that we don't really want to be a yes for. And then we show up in a way that is resistant, like we don't want to be there. And we don't give our best to it because we don't really want to be there. We're coming out of obligation. I had a friend who was telling me the other day that she agreed to be the maid of honor in a wedding for somebody who she didn't feel as close as the bride felt to her. She didn't feel their relationship was that close, and she was a yes out of obligation. And so everything she did was out of resentment.
I gotta pay for what?
Yeah.
I gotta buy these shoes. I don't really want to do this. Why do I gotta do this? Then I gotta do the pictures.
Exactly. Having an attitude about it, having to be dragged and pulled and forced and all of that, because she didn't want to be a yes. Right? And a lot of times we say yes to things, not because we want people to like us necessarily, but because we think something more beneficial will come out of it, right? So we think, okay, if I go ahead and agree to do this thing, then I'm going to, look good. And so there's going to be some benefit to it. Or because if I say no, then maybe I'll need that person to do something later. And then, I won't be able to get them to do it because I said no to them. But when we say yes and we really mean no, what we offer to the situation doesn't, it doesn't pay, right? Because we don't show up as our best selves. So, it's a gift. It's a gift that we can give ourselves to be able to say a strong no and a strong yes.
That's good.
We want to be committed to.
That's really good. That's an important one. Yeah. I mean, they're all important, and that one really resonates. Yeah. We can't allow ourselves to do things that we aren't fully vested in, and that we don't as you said, that we can't always say yes to even after we've done it. Like, yes, I'm glad I did that. I wanted to do that. I don't have any reservations about having done it, and making that choice. So yeah, that's a really good one.
And not having to just deal with the negative feelings.
The stress of all that. Why deal with that? You don't have to.
Feeling forced to it. Right. All right, my love. Do you want to take a little commercial? We come back and do the others. I have like a little surprise one that's going to be kind of fun.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Why don't we take a commercial break then?
All right. I love it.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to become your best self now? I mean, like right now. If you're ready to become your best self, then why don't you join me and Solivity Magazine as we present the New Year, New You celebration along with our very special partner, Beyond Words Publishing. It's going to be Saturday, December 12th, starting at 1 p.m. Now, guys, the best part is you'll be able to watch all of this and enjoy it all from the comfort of your own home. I mean, you'll be able to watch all of these amazing people share their gifts and thoughts about how to close out this year and begin the next year with light, love, and power. I mean, how cool is that? And you're going to be able to walk into 2021 with freshness and some spirit and of course, inspiration. You do not want to miss this incredible event.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we are talking about priceless gifts for all holidays and all religions and all whatever throughout this holiday season. Priceless gifts that will last forever, that you can give yourself and others.
Don't matter if you're doing Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
right?
Don't matter.
It's Mahana Christmas Kwana Hanukkah.
Reverend Deacon Doctor.
Right?
Saint Prophet.
Exactly. Whatever is your celebration of choice, and whether or not you're a gift giver. These are gifts that you don't have to wrap them. These are gifts that you don't have to pull your wallet out. These are gifts that will last you throughout the rest of your lives, hopefully. Number 5, we're on number 5. So let's just do a quick recap on the first 4. So the first one was to rest up, guilt-free rest. Give yourself and others guilt-free rest. Don't be pushing, doing things. It's time to just relax, sit down. Number 2, give yourself and everyone around you the gift of saying your piece and standing by it. So say what you mean, stand by it, and don't need to argue for it. Don't need to fight anybody. Number 3, give yourself the gift of cleaning up your loose ends. You got any, relationship things you need to clean up or clean out or talk about, decisions you need to be making, choices you need to be making, moves you need to be making. Some people it's career stuff, whether to move forward, on things, or I don't know, start looking for new stuff. And number 4, only be a yes for what you truly want to be a yes for. No false yeses, no false no's, hard yeses, hard no's. Just giving yourself as a gift. This is not like an edict or right and wrong, or there's something wrong with you if you don't do these things. These are just things we can offer ourselves that we don't have to pay for, right? Number 5, work out some aggression. So we've been through a lot globally this year, right? And so it stands to reason that some of us would have had some feelings and some aggression and some things that have come up, that we would feel emotionally confronted by a lot of the things that we're dealing with, the loss, the grief, the political stuff, the racism, the everything,
Right.
No matter what sides of any aisles that you are on, if you've been paying attention, it would be very difficult to not have some feelings that have come up over the course of this year about different things. And then pile that all on top of what we deal with in our personal lives as well. So allow yourself to work out some aggression if you don't already. And it's okay to be feeling all kinds of things. Some of the things we feel are negative, some of them are positive. But those negative feelings, when we bottle them up, walk around with them, they turn into sickness. So gift yourself with an opportunity to seriously work it out in a way that won't hurt anyone else. Some people like to chop wood, beat pillows, punch a bag. You can run across the whole countryside if you want to. Whatever you may need to move out of the way, or even splurge on in order to give yourself an opportunity to beat out some pent-up anger. It'll be totally worth it. So hopefully you don't have to really spend any money on it, but you could if you wanted to, because some people, they actually have rooms where you can just destroy things. Have you ever heard of that, Brian, where you can break glass?
Yeah. What was it in? I think LA was the first place that I saw that is actually, it's people send their patients to work out aggression, and it's a room. They go in there and they have a sledgehammer or whatever, and they just go to town.
Yeah. So allow yourself that. If you need to take it there, do that. Because when we allow ourselves to express our anger, express our feelings, that means that we get to get it out. If we don't get it out, it stays in our system. It does all kinds of stuff, causes us all kinds of stress. So it's a nice gift. It's a nice gift to give yourself. When I feel like I have anger, things that are pent up, I don't mind beating up the pillows, even if that's, exactly what's in front of me. I don't mind letting out a scream if I have to.
Right. I mean, these are all healthy ways of doing it without hurting yourself or others, and getting that energy out of your
Yeah.
body.
Some people do batting cages. Some people, whatever it is.
Go swing, hit some balls at the golf range or whatever.
Yeah. And also, it will prevent you from having to take it out on anybody else.
Right.
Take it out on something inanimate, and do what you need to do to express it. And there's nothing wrong with it. Don't make your anger wrong. Express it, express it, express it. Number 6. Now this one has a little instruction to it, right?
All right.
This is a give yourself. So write down all of the reasons why you feel like you can't have something that you really want, especially if it's something you've been wanting for a long time, whether it's your own business, a new job, a baby, a divorce, a major contract, if you're someone who works in contracts, financial freedom, the love of your life. I work with a lot of people that's what they're looking for, their soulmate, the love of their life, whatever it is. Take that thing and then write down your list of reasons for why you feel like you can't have it or haven't had it, or, all of the excuses, the roadblocks, anything that you feel like is standing in the way of you having that thing. Write all of it down and be exhaustive about it. Try to write down as many as you can think of. So, for some of my matchmaking clients, they're looking for the love of their life. And if I say to them, well, what do you think has stood in your way? Well, they'll say things like, I was hung up on my ex for a long time, so I wasn't really open to anybody. Or, I just wasn't going anywhere to meet the right people. Or the way that I've been picking has been bad. So I've picked a lot of people that weren't good people. Or I keep meeting people that aren't good people. We'll come up with all of our reasons, right? Our reasons and the reasons are all that. The reasons, exactly. The idea is to then go through, after you've written that exhaustive list.
This is the instruction.
Set yourself a timer to go through and argue with each of those things with a counterpoint or a solution. And the reason I say set a timer is because you don't want to get all in your head and start thinking about it too much and really get into the limits. You just want to force yourself to come up with, and this is a gift to yourself. This is not something for you to beat yourself up with, or, you're not forced to do this. If you don't do it, it's okay. But if you want to give yourself the gift of getting clarity around moving stuff out of the way for things you really want, get in there, give yourself 20 minutes to just come up with an arguing point or a solution for every excuse you've ever made around it. Right? So let's say it's, I want to have my own business, but I don't have money to put into my own business. I work too much, or, my job takes up all of my energy, or, those things that we come up with. So get in there and start arguing those things. So I work too much. So what can I do as far as balancing my hours? What am I not willing to sacrifice right now? Whether it's how much money I'm making, what solutions can I come up with that I can find just a couple hours a week? Be willing to challenge yourself to come up with solutions for every problem that you've ever laid down that stands in the way of whatever it is that you want. And just sit down and do it as an exercise, just as a gift to yourself. I promise you, it will give you some mind freedom, some freedom from, what you feel like has been holding you back.
Another good one. That's another good one.
You like that?
I'm gonna do that one myself.
Right. I think, and that's one that you can do around, because I think at any given time, there's always an area where we want something, right? And so you can do that around almost anything that you desire in your life. And when you get that thing or you figure it out, then you go and you do it with another thing. But it's just that because we always spend so much time focusing on what doesn't work, or we often spend so much time focusing on what doesn't work, which is what keeps us from what we want, that just allowing ourselves that time to go in with the solutions, because we're creative people when we allow ourselves to be. We all have the ability to create solutions and solve problems when we allow ourselves to do so. And so just give yourself the gift of 20 minutes. And if you think of it like you're doing it for a friend, because I think we're all really good at doing it for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If a friend comes to you and has a bunch of excuses for why they haven't done something, it's so easy for us to be like, well, you just need to do such and such and such. You need to do this, you need to do that. Like that's what we do with our friends, or that's what we often do with people that we care about. And so treat yourself like you would a friend who was coming to you and was like, I want to have my own business, but I've got, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's another gift that we can give ourselves throughout this holiday season or at any given point during this holiday season. And then number 7, here is a gift that I feel like anybody can give themselves and others if they're willing. And I feel like it's in the spirit of whatever holiday you celebrate. It's in the spirit of whatever spirituality you practice, even if it's just humanity. Spend some time learning the people that you feel you know the best. So what does that mean? So this is a priceless and a wonderful gift for everybody, because so often we think that we know everything that we need to know about the people in our lives. So whether it's our partners, our kids, our extended family, we assume that since we've known sometimes all their lives, right? We assume that there's nothing that they could tell us or that there's nothing that would be a surprise. And so then we stop growing in our relationship with them. We just get
Right.
used to our day to day and what we know about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's your partners, your siblings, your friends, people that you've known for a lot of years, there is a lot of joy and intrigue and intimacy to be found in asking certain questions and being open to the possibility that you don't know as much about that person as you think you do. Like even when it's your own child. And I don't mean that in, I think because when you watch television, finding out secrets is always sort of a negative thing, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
like drama, and it means, if I find out something about someone I care about, that it's like, dun dun dun, it's an awful thing. But in real life, as we get to know each other, a lot of times the secrets are pleasantly surprising. Like learning, what someone we care about is really passionate about. We might not necessarily know that, or learning what they dream about, or what they see for themselves as far as future visions, or what they were embarrassed about when they were young, things like that. They give us insight into each other, they give us intimacy, and they connect us in a way that pretending that we already know or believing that we already know everything about a person doesn't have the ability to do. Like it opens up the possibilities in any relationship, even if you've known somebody for 40 years. And the recommendation with this one, there's a couple different sources for where you can find games and questions and things like that to do it. One that I like to recommend is that there was a New York Times article called The 36 Questions to Fall in Love. And that is an amazing exercise. I think there's also an app where there are 36 questions, and it's nice to do it in a romantic relationship because you do really get to find out things that make you feel closer or make you feel, not attracted to that person. But if you do it it's not sexual. So you can do it in all kinds of relationships. You can ask the 36 questions. If the person is willing and game, you can take turns. And then, even though they're not sponsoring us, there's this small business, and I'm really big this holiday season on supporting Black-owned businesses. Ace Metaphor does these cards called Tonight Let's Talk. Right here, you can see one of them.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cool, right? Like this
Yeah.
So I bought the date night edition, and look at how big this stack of cards is, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, so I bought the date night edition. It comes in this little box. I think there's other editions of it as well. And so something like this over the holiday season, especially since we're going to be doing Zoom calls and things like that, for those who aren't getting together, and for those who are together, it's probably maybe smaller groups if you're doing it that way. So something like this is going to be a fun and effective way to find out things about the person that you're with that's going to draw you closer and make your relationship, stronger, more bonded, more sustainable. You might find out some things that you don't like as well. That's a possibility. So it's a little risky, right? That can be part of the fun. So, Brian, I was going to ask you if you're game, if we like draw one and model for people. Like,
oh Lord. Go for it.
I'm going to shovel them around.
All right, go for it.
They're not necessarily like sexually intimate, right? They're just questions about like, who you are as a person.
Can I pass? No, I'm just kidding.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this and you tell me when to stop, and I'm just going to stop on one.
Stop.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
So the question I drew was, have you ever dated multiple people at the same time? And do you think it's okay for people to do so? Why or why not?
Oh, that's an easy one, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I have dated several people at the same time.
Okay.
I think that it's okay as long as the people that you are dating understand that you are open dating other people.
Yes.
That has been my standby for forever.
Yeah.
And that I think that if you are dating multiple people and you do not do that, then people who may not be into dating multiple people may get the false impression that you're only dating them.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk about it, then it could lead to people feeling betrayed and that you lied to them and mistrust and all that kind of stuff. So it's better just to be open up front. And in reality, it was a lot better, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, if people's feelings change, they could let me know.
Yeah.
And we could explore that, and maybe it could turn into a monogamous relationship, as it did maybe once or twice. But I think that's honesty is the best policy around the dating thing. If you don't want to say yes to having a monogamous relationship, then you should own that and not try to force yourself into doing something like that when you're not ready. That's it.
That totally makes sense. But here's the thing, because I always, not always, but I've had this conversation with people about the definition of dating. Like, I always thought dating, like if I say I'm dating someone, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm sleeping with them, but I'm going on a series of dates with them, meaning that we're, in touch with each other and we're planning to get together on a regular basis, right?
Right, exactly.
Because I had a debate with somebody one time who was like, dating means that you're in a relationship with them. So no, I don't date multiple people. But I even do like what you were talking about, like even with my matchmaking clients, I recommend that people do date multiple people at a time until one stands out as a star.
Yeah, I think that is the best thing. And again, I mean, culturally speaking, different parts of the country and different people who have different backgrounds describe those things different ways.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, that's why up front you have to do what you're describing to your clients, and that is, okay, if this is what you want, then tell the other person that, hey, this is where I'm at, and this is what this means. Yeah. So we're dating means we're not monogamous. We're hanging out. We're having some fun. I would like to see you again. We can go, we can do different things, but it does not mean we're in a relationship yet.
Yeah. So it's that like setting down the definition together, right?
Correct. And that's together. And again, if, it's fine if the other person at that point says, no, I that's not what it means for me, and I was looking for something different, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Or they could say, yeah, I am looking for that, and that's cool with me.
Yeah.
And then there's boundaries between both people around, like the dude can't see this person with somebody else and then get mad that this person is seeing somebody else, or vice versa.
Ooh.
The other person can't see somebody, and like, oh, well, what you doing with this person?
See, that's what I feel. That's where it could get sticky, because even like, we've had a conversation and we're clear on what we're doing. I feel like when people are in their feelings, they tend to forget those conversations.
It's like, don't you remember we talked about this?
Yeah.
And
But I think
so,
that could go either way, because then you get to, not that I don't think people should be manipulative about it, but I think that if you're dating several people and then you have a conversation with, the people that you're dating, yes, I am dating several people. And then one happens to say, see you in a restaurant or something and have feelings about it. Then you kind of get, oh, like, if it's that important to you, maybe we need to talk about, are you trying to be exclusive with me? Because if
right, and they can talk about that.
yeah. Like it. Let's do another one. We got time for one more.
Oh, I see there. All right, you're next.
I'll go next. You were thinking, oh, I got away. That was an easy one. I'm gonna let you say stop, but then I'll answer it. Go ahead. You say stop.
Stop. All right, this is for you.
Okay. Have you ever hit a person of the opposite sex? Wow. I would get that one.
I dodged a bullet.
Right? You did. Well, actually, we both answered the last one. We both have to answer the question, Brian.
Oh, no.
Is no. I'd be surprised if yours is a yes.
No.
But I'm not judging. We all have a past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I have hit a couple people of the opposite sex. And when I was young, it was nothing for me to do that. When a kid, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't like I was a bully or anything like that, but I didn't grow up with like a fear of boys. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't a tomboy, but I was always kind of a boisterous girl. But I do have to admit that part of my dark and dirty past, and part of the reason that I am a love coach and, that I work on healing and transformation, is because there was a time in my life where I really just did not know how to be in relationship in a healthy way. That's not to say that there weren't healthy times or times that were really good, but I have a couple relationships where there were moments where the first one was in my 20s, and I probably got physical, not on a regular basis, but at least several times in a 13-year relationship. And then, the second one, that was a physically abusive relationship mutually. And so I rarely initiated the physical, but, there were several times that I initiated it. And it's not something that I'm in any way proud of. I don't regret it, in the sense that, we both had to learn in both relationships. We both had to learn some things. And I believe that even in the biggest mistakes that we make, whether a woman or a man, or, being non-binary, however you identify yourself, that we do what we know to do, what we were taught to do, what was modeled for us, what we think is the right thing in the moment. And it's not about holding ourselves, in emotional jail for what we've done, and in shame for what we've done. It's about being able to own that what we were doing didn't work and it wasn't the right thing to do, so that we can then heal it and make a different choice, right? So yeah, there was, it said to explain what happened. There was, in the first relationship, we were in our 20s and we would get into these like serious fights. And one time we were actually driving in a car, and I can't even tell you what we were fighting about, but it got to be a really volatile fight. I have no excuse for why I behaved the way that I did. All I remember is that I hauled off and I hit him like full fist.
Dang.
And he was driving, so it put us in danger. I don't remember what he said. I don't remember what we were arguing about, and not that there would be any justification, because there was no, like, I look back at it now and there absolutely was no justification for me putting my hands on him. He hadn't done anything to me physically. He wasn't somebody who would go after me physically. We definitely would get in fights with each other, but it wasn't like, they were just fights. And I think,
right.
But yeah, me with my lack of emotional tools at that time, it was my choice to haul off and not behave in a way that was becoming of a lady. But I've since cleaned that relationship up. I since cleaned up my relationship where it was mutually very physically abusive. And I look back on those times and I know that it's, that I'm unrecognizable from who I was then emotionally. And I can own that I made choices that weren't the right choice,
Gotcha. So you followed your own advice.
I followed my own advice. And, and it's why I teach what I teach now, because, it comes from having had my own challenges. I always say that I wouldn't want to have a personal trainer who'd never been fat. Right. So as a coach, as a relationship coach, as a love coach, self-love coach, all of what I've learned and, as far as curriculum I've created comes out of what I've done and experienced, or, what my limits were and how I transformed those things, or how I'm transforming, because, I'm always on the journey. We're always growing. We're not done until life is over. So yeah, like 100%, I was somebody who was awful to be in a relationship with at one point. And I'm willing to admit that.
Wow.
It was good times too. It wasn't like it was 100% awful.
Exactly.
What I mean? Yeah, those are the things that I grew from. But wow, this hour goes by so fast. I
know.
We go by so fast. So yes, get to know someone that you feel like you already know. Ace Metaphors tonight. Let's talk. That's a great game. The 36 Questions to Fall in Love from the New York Times is a great game. And just some honorable mentions for gifts you can give yourself this holiday season. Eat as many veggies as you can. Just take a little bit of a booze break. Normally in the holidays, it's when we really get boozy because we've been working hard all year. But this year with the pandemic, I feel like we've been boozy. And I don't want to speak for everybody, but for anybody who's been boozy, give your body a little bit of a break, just as a self-gift. Eat some vegetables. A little bit of like healthy self-care. It doesn't sound like fun, but it will help you feel a little bit better mentally. Trade foot massages with a partner or a friend. Adopt a homeless cat or dog. Right? Things like that. Just gift yourself things that, will support you in, being in these unprecedented times without having to break the bank. Right. And the opportunity for all of us is to see that, what can come from doing things differently than we've done them before. And the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is to surrender and go with the flow of all of this uncertainty, because it's not going anywhere. And that's okay. That's what we're here for. And that's it.
Great show.
Thank you, honey. So just to wrap up, I know we're in our last like minute or so. Mm-hmm. Everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Brian and Celebrity Magazine, for this fantastic season. It's been so much fun.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And 2020 has been wonderful with you. And I want to encourage everybody to follow on Instagram, Twitter at Celebrity Magazine, on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me at Ask for Candy Podcast, at Candy Love Coach on Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, I think that's it. Email us, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Tune in next week on the audios for author Frank Love. And until next time, never forget that you are a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for candy. Bye, my Brian. Bye, everybody.
And we're
Watch Ask for Candy with Candice Harper every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Solivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Solivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Solivity Magazine shows by going to solivity.com now.